Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizzano, and you are listening to another episode of the world famous University Love, the best show in one, two, three galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves. And we are coming to you live today. Today is Thursday, March the 20th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about one thing and one thing only. We are going to talk about the number one rule when it comes to marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, thou shalt not be born. Ladies and gentlemen, do not put us to sleep. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to think. You need to think before you market, and you need to market wisely. And ladies and gentlemen, you need to not be born. Ladies and gentlemen, what does that mean? That does not mean you have to be ha 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 ha. That does not mean you have to be super serious, ladies and gentlemen. What it means is you just can't be born. We do not want to think about you and your marketing as paint drying. It will be the kiss of death. You will not get very far, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a YouTube channel, you have a blog post, you have whatever, Facebook, Instagram, you're sending people cards, you're sending people letters, you're sending people stuff in the mail, through the mail. You know, you're standing on the corner preaching, you whatever. In anything that you do, ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to be born. Okay, uh, man, listen. Have you? My brother one time my brother once he took a girl to church. This girl was going to church and she said, "I want to go to another church, baby. This guy's boring." And my brother said, my brother said, "Have you come? Have you come to hear the word, or have you come to see a pastor jump around or whatnot?" I understand what my brother was talking about, but at the same time, hey man, even even the good Lord Himself had to excite the crowd to get His message across. Okay, you gotta, you gotta, you gotta, you gotta do things in a manner that you will not bore your audience. You want, because I know people talk about. I remember when I was trying to get a job one time in sales. I was trying to get this job in sales. I wanted to sell. It was like they sold like roof. Yeah, like you know, basically they say, hey, you need a new roof, And the guy was like, "Are you a closer?" And I was like, "What?" And at the time, he's like, "I need closers. Have you ever sold?" And I thought, well, no, but I mean, how hard? I mean, it can't be this. He's like, "I'm looking for natural closers." And I just thought, man, all right, man, listen, okay, it ain't that hard to figure out. It ain't that hard to figure out how to drum up sales and how to get people to have money in a hot little hand and hand it over to you. One thing that you can do, and it can knock down the apprehensions, the sales take all the sales technique is great and all that, But at the end of the day, you're not tricking in it. You're not listen. I know people think, what like copywriting is great, and you want to write good, copy and all that. But ladies and gentlemen, in order to get people want to buy anyway. People are going to buy anyway. You want to have people. You want to have people not with their hands up, like I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. You want to have people with their hands down. And how do you do that? How do you prep the people? You start off by giving them by marketing to them in a unique way, in a way that is, fun, unique, makes you think. You want to be able to get people in the heart, whether they're crying, they're laughing, they're thinking. You want people in this manner. You don't want people to be blah, and that is boring marketing. When somebody is like blah, that's where you're not. Your message is not coming across in a good way. Okay, you want the hot emotion. You want the freezing cold emotion. Like I hate them. Um, as I told you before, I used to listen to Howard Stern. He had two types of listeners. He had the I love Howard Stern. He had the Marianne from Brooklyn. I love Howard Stern. Or he had the FCC. We hate Howard Stern. There was no in between. Uh, thou should not be born. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to marketing, when it comes to content, when it comes to anything, you're gonna be a guest on a TV show, a talk show. Thou does not want to be uh boring. You don't want to be. I remember I watched the thing of Janet Jackson or David Letterman. It was one of the worst. Janet Jackson gave David Letterman absolutely nothing to talk about. But because she was a big star, she could get away with that. You, ladies and gentlemen, are not a big star yet. You can't get away with that, okay? You can't be born. You can't be on TV. And plus Janet Jackson is a cutie pie. So I didn't mind her standing sitting there because Janet Jackson's cute. She's a beautiful woman. So I sat there and watched it. David Letterman was standing there staring at her. But she could get away with that. The rest of us cannot, okay? So, unless you're Penny from Good Times, ladies and gentlemen, rule number one: thou should not be born. Thou should be exciting. And there's a number of ways you can go about it. Think about it. Write stuff down. What can I do? What can I say? How can I market? How can I? Who am I talking to? Who am I looking for? And then thou should not be born. It does not matter when you're a guest on somebody's podcast. You don't want to. You don't want the host to. You don't want the host to be more excited than you, ladies and gentlemen. You want to say things that are going to be provocative. You want to say things that are going to shake up the room. Say things that make people that are going to make people think. Not the same old milk toast. Well, you probably can. Hey, 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 hey. And when I say thou should not be born, you don't have to be one of these people who, as I told you last week. I noticed I see a lot of lot a lot of Democrats now. They're like cursing and trying to be like kind of outrageous, kind of like Trump. But they're going about it in a bad way. It's not. It's like not. You can tell it's not who they really are. And it's Trump. He's a bombastic fella. He says things and you know he says things in a way. He talks about he's a billionaire and hey, he's got money and you know me, and I did this and I did that, and I'm gonna fix the economy on my own. And he says things, and he still and people get upset, people get angry. But one thing that Donald Trump has never been, and he's never been born. And ever since I was a kid, this guy has always had his name in the paper, always been in magazines, always been on TV, some type of way, because his marketing message has never been born. Okay, it has never been blah. I mean, I just saw a couple weeks ago, Rosie O'Donnell moved to Ireland because she said she didn't feel safe in America. Now, her and Donald Trump was mortal enemies at one point in the media, so maybe she's the only person that needs to move to Ireland. But I say all that to say the message is not born. Steve Jobs, his marketing message was not born. Apple was always on the cutting edge of technology. They was always like, hey, we're gonna charge more. And and the reason why he said, "Hey, we're charging more," is because we are on the cutting edge of technology. We have the best technology, the best products, so we can charge the most. And so people are like, "Ooh, I want to feel exclusive. I want to be in the bed with Apple." Now I'm one of them suckers that is in the bed with Apple, but it's not my fault. My cousin told me, "Hey, man, you should join Apple. You should get an iPhone because I still have my flip phone. I miss my flip phone." But anyway, but the message is not born. Now Apple has been cruising ever since Steve Jobs died. I mean, they come out with the same type of phone. They changed the camera a little bit, but hey, the establishment has already been set, and until somebody comes along with a banana phone, or they name the phone banana, or grape or something like that, then Apple's going to dominate the phone business. Okay, it's just the way it is. But so you want your message to not be born. You want your products to not be born. You do not want to be born as a personality, as a speaker. You want to speak. Hey. You want to be lively. You want your message to feel like it has a pulse. Okay, listen. You do not. You know. You don't want to. You don't. Death. Born is death. Okay. And death is born. And you don't want to be death. Okay. TikTok, ladies and gentlemen. You don't. Whenever you, it's like a comedian bombing on stage, and people just up there staring at him and looking like, when is this guy gonna get off the stage? You don't want that to happen to you. Okay, you don't want your message to fall flat on the earth. Okay, you want to give the people something to talk about, something to think about. You want to evoke the emotions out of the people. The more you can evoke the emotions out of the people, the better off you will be. The more money you will make. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We'll be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, you can always email the show, Tony@TonyRizzano.com. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Don't bloviate. Okay? Get it done. Email. And every now and then I might answer your question on the show. But until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. God bless each and every one of you. And as always, everybody, peace.